Paige, are you still there?
I think Paige is frozen.
Yeah, you should take a picture of that face.
She looks very confused.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Where were you going with that, Erica?
Oh, well, I was just thinking, like, a lot of times I get told that I'm very, like, outgoing or, like, bubbly, but in the inside, I don't feel that way. So I wonder if that's where, like, the I and the S are because the S is more like the even-tempered and the chill, where,
Yeah.
like, I can maybe project a different way.
So an interesting perspective, and if you like, you might see it when you read through that whole disc assessment. But one of the things I think that might be influencing you that's not standing out is that little bit of C that you have. Visual aid. So if you're like here, this doesn't affect you. So when you look at a disc assessment, you see these around the side. Those are motivators, primary motivators, like results, enthusiasm, collaboration, support. So this challenge, what this means is right and wrong. So you're here. You're not far away from over here. So that right wrong thing is like a constant reflection of what should I be, what is the right thing to do in this situation? Is the right thing in this situation to be social, to be approachable, to try and engage others? Is the right thing in this situation to take it all in and observe? And the natural instinct might be, if I'm guessing, and we don't know each other all that well, I'm sure we'll get to know each other better. What I see from that is the natural instinct is you prefer to observe at least for a little while and then engage. Like, I'm walking into a room full of people. I know I'm going to talk to people, but I'm going to kind of look around, like see maybe anybody else who's in that similar situation. Maybe if I know somebody, like, okay, now I'm going to engage instead of walking in the door, guns ablaze. Hey, everybody, I'm here. How's it going? And not really caring who's around. You might do that if you think that's what you need to do, but your inclination, the happy place might be, I'm going to walk in, put my coat down, kind of look at the room a little bit, and then I'm going to engage.
Mhm.
Versus somebody who's maybe more on that like extroversion scale. First of all, they might not want to be in the room to begin with, but they might also be like, I'm going to come in and find a spot that I can go to observe where people will leave me alone. Then I will look and read the room because I know I have to be here because I'm supposed to. But then I'm going to take some time and like find a person to talk to, and that'll warm me up, and then I'll be good talking to other people. So it's all like that instinct stuff. So sometimes when you like, if somebody's like, oh, you're so bubbly, well, that might just be because you're comfortable
Mhm.
around that person or in that environment. You don't really need to observe. You can be yourself. And one of the points I want to make when it comes to extroversion and introversion, um, that doesn't, that's just how people act in groups. I know a lot of introverts who talk a lot when they're comfortable,
Mhm.
when they know, when the fear of judgment isn't going to be there, when the fear of being wrong isn't going to be there, and then they have a lot of words to use. So I know that, like, it's just about how we interact in environments. What's our motivation? What's our fear?
I feel like even people that don't know Erica, like knowing Erica probably better than a handful of people. I I don't. When people say that she's bubbly, she is bubbly, but she's not like over the top bubbly. So it's really weird to me when people call her that because she's not. I don't think behind closed doors she's all that bubbly. She's very similar to me. She likes to have a good time. She's having fun, but she's not like that. When I think
Yeah.
of like the Claire, for example, she is a bubbly person to me
Yep.
Mhm.
in
She's like all
person.
I.
Yeah, but, like, even behind closed doors, Erica's not bubbly, but people will say Erica is, and I'm like, "A little bit, maybe," but I think it's because she has to be
I
in
think
certain
it's a
situations.
generalization too. I think that can be a generalization. People assume all introverts are introverts, all extroverts are extroverts. So, Erica, here's what I would say. We have been around each other a handful of times. My observations is that you're friendly and approachable. I would never be uncomfortable coming up and talking to you.
That's
I
good.
wouldn't say I wouldn't say you're bouncing off the walls and trying to dominate any conversations. I wouldn't say that. I probably wouldn't say bubbly, but I would absolutely say friendly and approachable. Like nothing about you in a professional setting says don't come talk to me.
That's good because I feel like sometimes I give off that vibe.
No, your RBF is weak.
I've never been told that before.
Yeah,
So
your
I like
RBF is weak.
that.
You are friendly and approachable. That's the vibe I pick up from you.
That's funny. I really like that. That makes me feel a lot better because I've been more mindful of my RBF because I've been
Yeah.
told that it's like
Yeah.
pretty
Paige, on
extreme.
the other hand,
Shut up.
if
I
she's
think it's
thinking about a task, she's like,
if I'm
JK.
yeah, no, you're not wrong. I remember bar camp a few years ago. There was a bunch of us in an elevator, and a situation had came about, and Danielle on my team, she was like, "Paige, your face, your face, your face," and I was like, "What about my face?" And she's like, "Change it," and I was like, "Ah, shit!" Like I can't. So I have been like Erica said. I'm trying to work on it, but it's not. It doesn't.
No, I got the same problem. I got the same problem. I've been accused of making people feel bad before, and I'm like, I didn't even talk to that person, and it's because I might be like, I walk into a room and I'm like, Erica, like, hey, it's so good to see you. Like, we haven't talked since the pod. Like, how's everything going? And then I might be like, hey, Paige, like I wasn't mean to you, but I made you feel a certain way because my
I would
face
have been like,
showed
"The
it or
fuck."
whatever. Right, but
Yeah,
I
that
didn't
would
do
bother
anything
me
mean to
too.
you. I get it, but I didn't do anything wrong. I just didn't
Mm,
make you feel the same way I made her feel. So
Yeah.
okay, so this I have a lot of questions. Um,
ask them all.
okay, so the younger generation seems less tolerant of bad behavior. And I feel like every generation interprets leadership very differently. For example, there was a situation that arose and I asked your opinion. I got my opinion. I have Brandon's opinion and I asked my mom. All of you said something very different on
Awesome.
how to handle said situation, which is probably why I had to redo the like I had to think about this situation a lot. But like Brandon's was an I don't give a fuck. Yours was direct but compassionate. And my mom was like, remove any and all feelings.
Hmm.
All three different generations.
Yeah.
So how does that I don't know. I just don't know how this all correlates and how because in our industry we have very old agents and we have like 19-year-old agents. And me personally, I want to connect with them all.
Yeah. So this is
So
called multi-generational workforce. That's like the professional terminology for it. So, and this will be relative for you guys because you're not, neither of you are in your 20s anymore. So sorry to remind you of that.
that's okay. I
So
don't want to be there.
yeah, so there's a psychology principle. I was a psych major, but I didn't finish, so you can only believe half the shit I say.
That's what
But
I wish I would have gone for.
Erickson's stages of development. Erik Erikson, heavy influencer in psychological environments, talks about stages of development. So one of those principles is when we're in our 20s, and I'm going to talk about the principle and then I'm going to go somewhere with it to
That's
actually
fine.
answer your question. But it's an opportunity to teach a principle. So when we're in our 20s, we're trying to figure out what we're capable of. We try different things. We are learning things like what can I do? What do I like? What might I have success in? Like, do I want to try sales? Do I want to try leadership? Do I want to try operations? Whatever. I want to try something. When we're in our 30s, we've now been a professional for a decade, right? A whole ass 10 years, a whole decade. That's a big deal. Now you're trying to optimize what you're capable of. What can I do with the thing that I'm good at? Maybe I'm good at relationship development. Okay, what can I do with that? How much can I do with that? What can I achieve with that for my family, for whatever? When we're in our 40s, we start reflecting. We've 2 decades into our career. 20 years is a long time. Once you hit 40, you've been doing it for something. You've been a professional for 20 years. Now you're like, okay, well, I know what I'm capable of. I've figured out how to do well with it. Now is when you start reflecting. You're like, do I actually like this thing that I'm doing? Does it give me energy? Does it take energy? Do I feel good about it? People start asking them those questions about their lives, which is where midlife crises come from. People either blow up their marriage or they blow up their career. They do things. We're midlife crisis this time. 45 to 60, the last part of the career. So I say 50s, right? People in their 50s. That's reflection. So then you're like, okay, I've been working 30 years at this point in time. Like, I know what I'm capable of. I've optimized. I've peaked. I've done the best things I've done in my career. Like, I can't kick the can down the road. Like, what do I want to do going forward? Like, what's left? Like, I don't give a shit about a lot of things I used to. Like, what actually matters now? Usually that's like family and like how people are treated or something like that. It's where you might get parental advice where it's like, listen, I've seen it. That shit don't matter. Focus on the only thing that matters. All right. That's where some of that advice can come from. So those priorities change, the advice changes. So those are the four groups that matters when it comes to like using tech. You're like, why does every 20-year-old just embrace tech? And the 30-year-olds are like, well, like you need tech, but like, why is it better than what I'm already using? Where the 40-year-olds are like, tech, like, yeah, I know it's important, but I've already been doing this 20 years. Like, can't I just write it down? And then like the 50 plus crowd are tech resistant. They're like, you got to prove to me that this shit's way better than what I'm doing. It's got to save me time or I'm not doing it because I've already been doing it 30 years. I know how to do it. It's common psychology. This is normal stuff. Anytime you see somebody in those demographics doing something different, they're normal. It might annoy you, but they're normal. That's the empathy side. So now we go back to, you asked the question about like the younger people and in specific, like expectations on leadership, things like that. Would you guys agree that at this point, a decade and a half into your professional career, do you agree that as the professionals get younger, they want more on demand?
Yes. Instant
I want things
gratification.
now. I want things
Yes.
now
Yes.
because they're accessible. I've been taught that. I want it quicker, right? Um, so they're also smart. Every generation gets smarter. They have access to more information, arguably the ability to do critical thinking, at least in some element. Like they process quicker than maybe as the older generations, because they didn't have to. I didn't have to process things early on like I had to process now. So they are critical of leadership. They expect different things because their goal is I think I'm smart. Mom gave me a ribbon just for showing up to this event. I didn't have to win anything to get recognized for it. So I showed up today. When am I going to be given the next thing? Now, I know that sounds cynical. That's a little out there, but the truth to that is they're always looking for the next challenge. They're looking for the next thing to keep their brain challenged, to keep the process going. And as soon as they get most of the way there, like, oh, okay, I understand how to be a real estate agent. I've been doing it a year. I know 80% of it. What's next? Well, you might learn 80% of it. The success comes from getting to 100, and that only takes time. It takes time. So they have higher expectations of leadership, and if they don't see what they want, if this person that's my leader can't get me where I want faster, I'm done. And it's okay to do that. When I first started working 30 something years ago, you were told you stay at a job and no news is good news. Like you stay there,
Correct.
you work there 10 years, no news is, if your boss doesn't talk to you, it means you're doing a great job. Okay, that's long gone. If you have an employee in their 20s, what they need is challenge, validation, and support. What's your goal? This thing I need you to do, this thing I want you to learn, this is how it will help you get to your goal. You got to keep in front of them with those types of things. So versus
I resonate with
somebody in their,
that.
say that again, Erica?
I feel like I resonate with that.
Yeah. So versus somebody in their 40s and 50s that they might be like, we don't really need to talk. Like, why do I need to come to that team meeting? Like, I don't need to hear about it as much. Like, tell me if I'm doing a good job, and I'm happy because I'm making money. I'm spending time with my family. I help a lot of customers. Like, I'm good. You know, they're not going to have the same level of engagement as somebody else. And people in their 30s, that's the highest level of intentional energy in your career. It's when you're you know what you're capable of. You've had some success. I'm trying to optimize it. Like I got energy. I've got maturity. I've got experience. I'm taken seriously as a professional. Like, let's fucking go.
So the
Yeah.
time is now, is what you're saying.
Bingo. Yeah. It's when you're
So
going to
for
be at
me,
your most. It's when you're going to be at your most.
That
And then you
spoke
will
to me.
continue to achieve success. That way, once you're in your 40s, you're like, okay, I got this, bro. Like I hit that number. I did that thing. I'm pretty solid. Like I'm pretty squared away. Like what's next? Bring it on, you know? Yeah.
Mhm.
so Erica, I feel like you are truly in your 30s, and I feel like I'm very much so like in the 40s stage, where now I'm more in a reflection. And but I think Ryan, you and I have talked about this. I've also been a mom since 16, so my
You got
professional life
you
started
did
at
get a
16.
really early start. Yeah, really
So
early start.
so I don't know, like it does resonate with me, but like sometimes when people are like, and I told Erica, we've talked about this. If I had the energy I had when I first started with the knowledge I have now, I think I would be unstoppable. But I just like I don't know, like I'm hungry, but I'm not like in 30s. Like I'm not. I feel like I'm optimized. I guess I don't know, and I could be so wrong, and I probably am wrong, but like I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I think I see that. I see a lot of that, Paige. And look where you're at right now. So I see a lot of that.
And you don't have the same fight because you're not 16 and like struggling and having to scrap your way up. You're kind of like you're comfortable. If nothing grows, like you have the life that you wanted. So like although you can
Yeah,
tweak it, there's nothing like lighting that fire under your ass because you have all the things. Like you are
I'm content
successful.
for once in my life.
Yeah.
You're also at an age where like your kids are at just such cool ages and they're like little adults and just doing human things and they're less like they've got their own personalities. They're less like they're not chasing around changing diapers anymore. Like they have opinions and so that's also important in terms of like and you got an early start, right? A lot of people's kids aren't your kids' ages until they are 40s.
Yeah, true.
So like that's when people start to reflect. They're like, man, I've been going balls to the wall in my career, but I got these cool ass little people that used to like lit that I created that like I want to be around more. So
Yeah.
you start valuing work family balance, you start valuing family connection, things like that. You know, me personally, like I in my 30s, my kids are 24, 21 and 18. And 15 years ago when I was 34, 35 years old, like they were 3, 8 and 11. Pretty cool ages, but I didn't know that. I was balls to the wall. Like I
Right.
worked my ass off because I thought the higher I climb in the corporate ladder, the more impactful I can be, the more I can do. I was wrong, but I thought that at the time. So I pursued that. I had the energy. I was taken seriously. I was achieving things and I didn't spend as much time with the kids. Now I never missed a ball game or anything like that, but I sure as shit wasn't present. Like if my kids wanted to talk about whatever their hobby was, I'm like that. I wasn't looking at them. I wasn't like, I'm not really engaging with them. I'm here, but like that's the type of stuff that you start to reflect on, and you're like, am I being the person I want? I think
Yeah.
you're doing a great job with that. We've had conversations. You're being very intentional with those things.
Thanks. I don't feel very intentional. It feels like fucking just throwing and seeing what sticks right now, but
Well, that's the holy trinity of that's the holy trinity of psychological issues: self-doubt,
yeah.
ego, control issues, all those things.
I don't think I have
That's
much
not
of an
something I can
ego.
help you with.
Do you think I have an ego? Because I don't feel like I have much of an ego.
Are you asking me that
I am,
or
because I
asking?
want to, both of you, I'm curious to know what your guys' thoughts are.
I'm not going first.
Erica, do you think I have an ego?
Can you define an ego? Like what is that?
To me, that like cocky is what that means to me, or thinking better than.
No, no, not that. No, I don't think
I
that you think that.
I only see that come out when you're trying to like validate an idea or something like that. You never boast ever. But
Yeah.
when you're thinking through a decision in a process, then you're like, but I've done this or I've done this. Like that's got to count for something.
Yeah.
And that's true. Those are true things.
Like when I remember when we met and I listed off my resume afterwards, that felt so like, I was like, why did I fucking say that? That shit
Yeah.
is weird.
Yeah.
That's why,
Yeah.
maybe that's why I don't feel like I have an ego, because that felt icky to me.
Yeah. I can't stand to talk about myself because I think every time I talk about myself, somebody thinks I'm bragging. I
Yeah.
never read my bio. I like never read that type of stuff. On all my slide decks for all my presentations and things like that, it's got like that bio with like the things I've done or whatever. Like I will never repeat those things. The only time I think, might be wrong, only time my ego comes out is when I'm trying to make my point. And I'm like, this is why I'm trying to give my point credibility.
I
So
could see
yeah,
that.
Me too,
Yeah, I could see that in you, Paige.
for sure. I mean, that perspective is
take me
absolutely true.
seriously. Like, take me seriously. Look at this. I've done
Yeah,
Mhm.
this. Take me seriously. It's that kind of thing. Yeah.
yeah.
That's the
I
self
don't.
confidence. The ego comes out during self confidence issues.
Hmm.
Or I think it's like I don't like. It's the taken serious part. Like, don't try to invalidate me or gaslight me or make me feel less than because uh, I'm not,
Mhm.
and this is why. But it's not because I feel now in my life. You would have asked me this 5 years ago. I'm far more confident now than I was 5 years ago. But like now, I don't know. I feel like I don't know what I think. I just
This is good. This is great dialogue. This is great. We turned this into a big therapy session.
we sure fucking did. That's what we need on this podcast.
A
There you go.
therapist?
Real estate therapy.
Yeah, I said in the beginning, you're my therapist for all things business.
I love it.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
What else you got for leadership?
Well, I do have something because, like, Paige is obviously going she's secretary treasurer now, so she's gonna be, like, in different rooms. So, like, for me, just because Paige has inspired me a little bit to wanna kind of dabble in things like that, but I struggle with finding my voice. So, like, how could I speak up in rooms like that where, like, I don't feel like I have the experience or value to give?
Yeah. So one thing you do have, no matter what, is perspective.
Mhm.
So the way you see things. If you think about this, you're somebody you've earned the place you are in life. You've earned your mid 30s, right? Like
Mm.
you've
I'm not
earned.
there yet, but yeah.
Oh, okay. I
Early
think, did we talk about
30s.
this? Early 30s. All right.
Early.
You've earned your decades. You've been a professional. So you've earned that stuff and you have perspective and your family, upbringing, beliefs, experience, all that stuff gives you perspective. So in things like that, you have a valuable, how you see things is always valuable. You're not making statements that something is right and wrong in groups like that. You're not disagreeing with somebody who's in their 50s or 60s and has a bunch of titles and all that. You're not disagreeing with that person. You can present your perspective. So that's how you add value. So in rooms where you're like, I'm in this room and all these people have this, that, or the other, how can I add value? Additionally, you can always be just thankful that you're at a place in your career where you're taken seriously enough to be there. Because the reality is you wouldn't be there if you weren't taken seriously. And so I'm appreciative that I'm here. How can I add value? And so when you're looking to speak up, those are those areas. And if you're in those rooms and people don't ask people to speak up and they don't ask for opinions, why the fuck are you there? Like that's not a well facilitated room if they're
To
just
kinda keep
barking.
everything the same and not ruffle feathers and just kinda keep things moving, maybe?
so we have a person on the board who is absolutely wonderful. And one thing I just absolutely love most about her is at every meeting, she started off by saying, I hate to be this person and I hate to bring it up, but to play devil's advocate, can I give this perspective? And she does it all the time. And I'm like,
Okay.
oh my God, I love that. Like,
Yeah.
because she's asking what everybody's thinking. But Erica, when you say voice to speak up, prime example, like you think that I have a voice to speak up, like it's fully developed. It isn't. Our last board meeting, there was 3 questions I had, and I emailed afterwards the executive team, and I said, "Hey, I didn't feel confident bringing this up. Can you answer these 3 questions?" And Megan, she was like, "Please ask these questions because
Mhm.
somebody else is going to have them." So I feel like it's also helpful for me, anyways, somebody that seeks validation, to get that validation that it is okay for me to speak up. So it's not 100% there, but I also have a hard time finding my voice.
Mm.
Yeah. A big part of that is just to not to make declarative statements. Um, some self-deprecation can be helpful. That's easier than some people than others. Like I can self-deprecate myself all the time. Like, listen, I'm a big dummy. I only know a couple of things, so help me out on this one. Like, this is what I'm seeing. What am I missing? Like in your case, especially, and Erica, and honestly, Paige, you're kind of close to that C issue as well, which is like a little bit of fear of being wrong, and it
Very much
influences
so.
us. It influences us. So you're like, well, I'd rather say nothing at all than to risk being wrong. But then what happens is you feel like you're suppressing yourself, or if you're self-aware, you're probably suppressing yourself. You might feel suppressed, but unless someone's telling you don't talk, you're probably self-suppressing.
For sure.
So that's where it's good to, when you make a statement or when you try to provide feedback, you're like, just, hey, just my perspective. Just, this is only a portion of it. This clearly isn't the full picture, but my thoughts would be this. You're forecasting. I'm setting expectations that what I'm about to say isn't me saying that this is the right way. I'm setting expectations that the thing I'm about to say could be a portion from my perspective. So now what you've done is you set the expectation that I'm not making a declarative statement. So now you've taken away the fear of being wrong. You've basically said, this is where the communication comes in. You've basically said, what I'm about to say might not be right. Okay, well, now you don't have to fear being wrong because you just said it.
Just said it.
I notice myself doing that a lot, but I always wondered if it comes across as like that I'm less confident or I don't have the confidence because I'm kind of prefacing it with that.
No, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. I know I have been around people that have said those types of things. That's called humility.
Huh.
I can't think of a single person that's done that, that's exhibited that behavior that I have judged.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's
I would
humility.
agree.
I
Yeah.
think people know. I think people know she's not dumb. She's here, but she's expressing humility by making this statement ahead of time. Okay, thank you. Thank you for not being ego. Thank you for not making a declarative statement telling the rest of us we're wrong. Thank you for contributing. Thank you for showing some humility, prefacing that it might not be accurate or it might not be all of it, but here's a thought. Like you're showing humility. People respect that. There's
Okay.
all kinds of books. I don't own any, but there's all kinds of books about like humility and things like that.
Yeah. I love that. And that's good to know for me personally, because I probably will use that and make comments.
Great.
And
Please do.
Okay, so couple more. Why do so many high performers struggle with confidence?
So high performers struggle in leadership or just overall?
In overall.
Um, so I think if high performers, like you've kind of figured out how to achieve something. And when you achieve, it's always, the hardest thing to do is be in first place because now you've shown everybody you've achieved. I've shown you I'm in first place. Now, as soon as you're in second place, you suck.
Yep,
Felt that in my soul.
me too.
Okay. All right. So you guys feel that, right? So self-confidence comes from like, okay, I've got this figured out. It's kind of like, this kind of goes to the, what am I capable of? People are trying to figure out what they're capable of. Like, am I capable of sales? Am I capable of relationship development? Oh, I am. How good can I be? Oh, I'm pretty good at this. But am I the best? They're watching me. It's that type of stuff. I think the more you perform, the more you do that, the more you get recognized from other people by it, the more pressure is on to stay there. And often, even if you follow a perfect plan, sometimes when you achieve a lot of success, unless you're just that high D person, that's all you are, not a lot of people stay there. You're kind of like, I know I worked hard, but did I maybe stumble into this a little bit? Like, did I, was there a fluke that I'm here? Like, I know I worked hard, but am I going to stay here? That happens because you give a shit. You care.
Do you think that's why they burn out so fast?
Oh, it's a lot of pressure. But this is the thing. What happened? Like, do either of you guys ever do puzzles? You ever put puzzles together or anything like that?
I started a
Uh,
few times.
um,
Way too tedious for me.
all right.
My brain likes it.
Mine does
So
not.
like once you achieve a goal, there's like this it's like going to the gym or something. Like there's this like once you're done at the gym, your body's like, oh, that feels really good, right? Like, well, then there's this pressure. Like, I went all in. I did as hard as I could do. Okay, well, that was as hard as you could do. Well, but I have to do more. That
Ugh.
constant, like, but I have to do more, you can burn out because what happens at some point in time, you get to where you're spending a lot of time on things that maybe you don't look forward to, maybe you're not as naturally good at. A great example of that is cold calling in sales. Like, nobody really loves cold calling. Nobody really loves like banging on doors. For example, some people do love meeting new people. Some people do love just to go into any room, any event, and just meet as many people as they can. Some people do love that. Most people, it's a vehicle.
Mhm.
I need to meet. I love solving problems. I love when you guys, this is my favorite thing. Literally, I'm super jazzed. I've been looking forward to it. I want people to ask me questions so I can share experiences. I'm excited about it. In order to do that, I need to meet people who are interested in that. I don't actually love, I don't actually look forward to meeting new people. I look forward to opportunities to solve problems, help them, teach something, whatever. So I have to meet new people so I get to solve problems and help them. Well, if I wanted to be the best coach ever and I wanted to be the best thing ever, I would, because I love that, right? But I would have to spend a crap ton of time doing something I don't really love to do. One of the workshops I teach, it's actually on my website, rhinoconsultingandcoaching.com, in the video section, shameless plug. It's
We love it.
a workplace preferences workshop, workplace happiness. And I
What's that?
talk about identifying things you love, like, tolerate, and despise. Things you love and like are things you look forward to that give you energy. Things you tolerate, you don't look forward to, but it's fine, I'll do it. And despise are things that take energy. If you spend a lot of time on things that you just tolerate or despise that take energy from you, they burn you out. It's a it's kind of that concept of, if you think about things you don't really look forward to doing, maybe you don't love reporting, maybe you don't love paperwork or something all day. Like, you might sit there and not physically do anything all day except do paperwork, but at the end of the day, you're exhausted. It's because you don't really look forward to it. Like, it was just something you had to do. That's the type of stuff that takes energy from you. Versus you might be, if you're doing something you love all day, if you're at closings all day, or having that first meeting with clients to learn their goals and their problems, and you love that, you could be 12-hour day and come home and you're like, I'm ready to go. Like, let's
Mhm.
do it, because it gave you energy. Burnout comes from spending too much time doing what takes energy from you. I read an article this morning on USA Today, and it talked about a new factor that's becoming more prevalent in leadership coaching and team coaching, and it's energy placement. And they're starting to factor in more about where your energy comes from, where it goes. And they also talked about the leader's energy. Like, teams, something like there's seven, I don't, stats are made up, so I don't know if it's true or not. I have not fact checked this, but they recite something like there's Gallup studies show that 70% more teams are engaged when the leader seems like they genuinely believe in the thing they're talking about. Well, that makes sense. It's energy,
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
so if that's where burnout comes from. Burnout comes from spending time doing what you don't look forward to. I burned out as a corporate executive because I was having to collaborate so much with people that I just didn't, not, these weren't bad people. I just very much disagreed with a lot of probably half of their strategies. That's really the point of a leadership group. Half people believe one way, half people believe the other. You're covered, your range of things is covered, and you make decisions in the middle. I didn't like that. I had to collaborate. It was exhausting for me because I always want to, what's the right thing for people? What's the right thing to develop people? How do we make people better? How do we help people's careers? Like, that's all I ever cared about. And when other people didn't see it that way, I was like, well, you can go kick rocks. It was exhausting.
So my burnout last year was not because I was doing things I didn't enjoy. It was I feel like it was because of doing too much of, like, it became maybe too much on my plate. And I don't know, like, I don't know. I don't know. What are your thoughts on, because I think I just had
Yeah.
too much on my plate, but I love doing what I
Yeah.
did.
That's your fault. You're, you have an you have an action orientation. I will send you guys the little, like a
Perfect.
sheet of this so you can share it. So again, these are motivations, enthusiasm, I,
Oh,
results, D.
yeah.
See this right here?
Yeah.
Pages right here. Like this is your primary drivers are action, enthusiasm, results. What can I do right now that will be good for people and get a result? That's the narrative.
Yes.
So you're an action oriented person. You have very little chill. You always want to be doing something. Your
Mhm.
answer to every problem is action in some way, shape, or form. What can I do to solve this dilemma? When somebody calls you, a friend or a relative or whatever, and they're like, Paige, here's my problem, you're gonna be like, here's what you do, right?
Solution
Not
thinking.
sit
Yeah.
back and dwell on it. Here's the thing to do. So you will always, because that's your primary motivator, you will always lean into that. Like, Erica, pretty neutral. But if I had to guess, you might end up, if your people are calling you, right? If you're the problem solver in your family or friend group or whatever, you might lean into collaboration. Like, what's something we can do together to get this done? Or what's something you can do with other people to get this done?
Yeah, well, if someone brings me a problem, it's our problem at that point,
Yeah.
which is
Yep.
hard for me.
Collaboration.
It's
That's just how we're built.
it's hard, but it made me think about what we were talking about, the energy thing. That really stuck with me because something that I've been focusing on too is just managing my energy. So, like, avoid burnout, I think, like, the solution to that then would be to really manage the energy that you have and where it goes and, like, operate in your highs. So, like, if I know after 2 p.m. I'm not very productive, like, my brain kind of just dies out. So, like, I try to do my tasks in the morning. So, like, when I am feeling kind of burnt out at the end of the day,
Great.
like, I can just kind
Yeah.
of roll with it and do things that
Yeah.
don't take
Yeah.
as much
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah. So what you're doing is processing your gaps. So like if that's a gap for you, something that takes energy, you've got to process. You're putting it at a space that makes the most sense for you and protecting it.
I've been looking at my whole, like, calendar that way. Like, this is something that's gonna make me tired. I need to do it in the I don't know, but
Yeah, I love
the
that.
so I would really like to read the article that you read because I would
I'll send it to you.
enjoy that.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
send it to you.
thank you.
Absolutely. And Paige, I'll get back to yours in a second and I'll talk about that. But this last thing, since we brought this up, it's another concept to teach. If organically you achieve, if you're just naturally good at something, or it doesn't take a lot of work for you to be good with your customers, doesn't take a lot of work for you to communicate with your customers, those types of things. If it's organically easy for you, that's a strength. If it's something that gets missed or you don't love or takes energy, usually that's a gap. So we have a gap, you need a process for it. So I call that processing your gaps. Two of the easiest tools possible to process your gaps is schedule control. So, for example, say as part of your job, do either of you like prospecting or cold calling? Okay. Very few people do, just to be clear. But say that was part, if you said next year, I want to hit this milestone in volume, I've already maximized everything else I can do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to buy a list of people who might be on the market from one of the, I don't know, some prospecting site or whatever, and I'm going to call them. If you're like, no, I don't want to do that ever. I just won't achieve that milestone. But if you were like, that's my goal, I'm going to do it. It's not something you like. What you would do is schedule that right before something you like to do. First thing in the morning is always great because you're like, I'm going to get it out of the way. But what happens when you schedule something first thing in the morning, you might think about that before you go to bed. Like tomorrow morning, I have to, because it's something that's first thing in the morning. You're going to knock it out, but tomorrow I have to do this thing. If things that are happening on Monday are things that take energy from you, Sunday night you're going to think about, oh, tomorrow I have to. Blah, blah, blah. Versus if it was something you liked, You'd be like, tomorrow morning I get to see just the difference in tone in my energy there. So when you're processing your gaps, put it, if it's something that you're not great at, that you don't love to do, put it on your schedule. That accountability, just that presence and consistency will make sure it happens, and try and do something after that you look forward to.
Mm.
Often I will say, do it at 11 because usually people look forward to lunch. Do it at 3 or 4 because you look forward to ending your day. Like something like that. Do it on Thursday because everybody looks forward to Friday. Whatever. That's your site. It's all psychology, self-awareness. You're processing that. So,
I love
Paige, back
that.
to you real quick on the burnout thing, and always adding more than what you're capable of doing. That's where prioritization
Capable
tools.
of doing.
Was
I'll
that
get
the
it
wrong
done.
word? Is that ego going to come out now?
Yes,
You just
I'll
said
get
I'm
it done.
capable. I will get it done. You will, but then you'll burn out.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So that's prioritization. And so that's something like a coach can help you with. I know you and I work together on those things. Like that's something, just somebody having some additional perspective that can be like, okay,
Mhm.
here are 10 things that matter. What's the order I should do these in? What's realistic? And somewhere on there, I think when you have your prioritization schedule, if you're like, okay, here's 10 things, like for example, and I'm giving you a cheat code right now, so this is not going to be fair when you and I meet on this, but if I was like, write down the 10 things you want to achieve this year, you might not organically put family stuff on there. You might put work related stuff on there. I will make you put
Mm,
family stuff on there.
I'll
If
put
you
family
wouldn't
stuff on
already.
there.
Oh, good, good.
I would.
Because what happens is when you have personal things on there that are your priorities, now you have something to weigh
Right.
and
Yeah.
prioritize. So if you're like, I want to be done by 4 o'clock. I want to be checked out of work by 4 o'clock every day. Be like, all right, what tools do we need? What process do we need to make sure that happens? Say that was a thing, like something like that. Then we prioritize the other things in that. And if they don't fit, then we're like, all right, what should be second quarter? What should we move to third quarter? What should we move to potentially the wish list for next year? That type of stuff. It doesn't go away. It's like, when do we do it? What can be done well? The other thing that people with the assessment that we have are plagued with is we want to be perfect, but we don't really ever achieve perfection. Like, I want to do it perfect, but I got too many things. I got most of the way here on this thing. It's done. It's not perfect, but it's done. Now I'm going to move on to another thing. That can also be a thing too that we can regret. So for me, I don't really need to do many things perfect. Um, if I did, I would schedule it differently.
Yeah. Okay. I got a couple rapid questions for you and then a final leaving thought. Okay.
Great.
Rapid fire. What leadership myth do we need to retire?
That managers and leaders are the same thing.
I like that one.
What's a green flag in leadership?
Organically helping other people, whether they want it or not.
What's a red flag in leadership?
People just caring about the title and bragging or ego.
What's one leadership truth people usually learn the hard way?
That you can't lead everybody to achieve the result you want. Sometimes you have to manage.
Love that. Okay. So, final thought. If someone listening feels stuck between being a high performer and stepping into leadership, what is one mindset shift they should focus on first?
I think that comes, Erica spoke really well on this, and I loved that. And I think you could share that when you share this question, when we answer this question. I think that's about how much do I love my individual success and performance? How good does that make me feel? And how good does it make me to feel to help lift up other people? I think that's the mindset. Like, it's not one or the other. It's not one or the other. There are so many people that are just some of the happiest people I've met are sales managers
Yeah.
because they get to do some stuff themselves. They're still in the action, and they also get to help other people. So then it's like,
Ooh.
it's not just selfish. Like, and when you're a sales manager, like the better you are, it's not about ego. It's about, if I get really good at this, I'm going to get to help other people get really good at this. So I find those people actually push themselves a little more because you're like, well, I've achieved enough. I'm good. But when
Yeah.
you've got some other people you're trying to help, you're like, no, it's for them too. It's for them too. Like, I'm going to learn, I'm going to read that extra book. I'm going to go to that extra conference. I'm going to spend that extra 15 minutes trying to learn this, understand this, because yeah, it'll help me, but it's going to help other people. That's the mindset. It can be they call it bifurcated. It's both. It doesn't have to be one or the other. You can be both.
Love that.
Well, too, like same thing with managing brokers. They are in leadership roles, obviously, but also they should be out there, in my opinion, like boots on the ground. Because if not, if they've been away from that for years, they're not going to know what's going on right now. Like aside from what they teach you or the CE, but like
Yeah.
we know it's different when you're out there doing it. So
Yeah.
that's how you're going to be able to better lead your team.
Yep. I agree.
I would agree. Okay, Ryan, how would people find you if they would like more information or would like your help in all things?
Website, Facebook, rhinoconsultingcoaching.com on the website, Rhino Consulting Coaching on Facebook, Ryan Woodruff on Facebook. That's me. That's where you find me.
I love
Nice.
that. All right, guys, that is all we got for you. Don't forget we have an Amazon storefront. Links will be posted all over our social media. And also, Hustle Humbly has some great resources for your business this year. And if you need a little help to get started or you feel stuck, you can check them out and use the code After Hours and you will get $100 off.
And don't forget to follow us on all the socials and whatever listening platform, because the podcast also has Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. And we would love to hear your crazy real estate stories. And we have our anonymous link now, which I'm really excited about. So you can share your Am I the asshole? Are you triggered? And all of the things so we can talk about them here on the plan.
Love that. Thank you so much for coming, Ryan. It's great. And I appreciate your insight so much, obviously.
Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
My pleasure. Thanks, guys.
All right.
It was
Thank
super
you.
excited. I loved every second of it.
Thank
guys
you
are
so
awesome.
much.
Thanks for coming.
I'll see you
Thank
soon.
you.